Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Dennis Herrera, and today I want to talk a little bit about property taxes and business taxes that are being proposed to raise within the 25th and the 26th year. I believe the goal is 26, 27, but they're going into proposing it this year. I live in the Washington State area, which is a Democratic state by majority. Washington State, it's almost 58% Democratic. Now, I mention this because it is very obvious that Democratic or Republican Party really are. Now, I don't pick a party. I pick the best party that brings the best solutions and the lookout for the American people. Washington State is considered a sanctuary city. Now, I really want to point out some of the observations that I have made on the Democrats here governing the state of Washington. Let's start by just saying Washington State has been known, and it was originally known as a farming state. Lots of farms everywhere. Now, not so much. Big companies have left Seattle. Now, Seattle still does good enough and makes a lot of money, not for the people, for the government. Makes a lot of money because there's a lot of people here. We have around 8 million people here accounted for. Why is that important? Because the budget has a lot to do with the population of such state. Here's the first problem about having sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities don't care if people are documented or undocumented, if they're criminals or not. They protect them regardless. I think that's anti-American and that's anti-patriotic. That's just my opinion. Now, why do I mention this? Because right now they're trying to pass an increased tax for businesses and also for property owners, like homeowners and property taxes. You know that when somebody is retired, their livelihood depends on the Social Security. And some of these Democrats argue that raising another $20, $30 on this bill for people that have houses is not a big deal. And the excuse is, oh, well, if that's going to help my schooling where my kids go, have better education, I am more than willing to pay those extra $30 a month. Now, you may think that's nothing, right? Here's the problem. There is a waste. There is fraud that is happening here in Washington State, just like there is in any Democratic state. That's just a fact. DOJ needs to dig into Washington State's budget, money being mishandled. Just so you'd have an idea, in the state of Washington, the budget for our government here has doubled of what it used to be. Now, they claim it's because they have taken on other projects that before were not accounted into the budget. But now they are. Now, number one, that doesn't make it any better for us American citizens. Their solution is just, let's tax the Washingtonians. If Washingtonians wants to live a better life, let's tax them. Here's the problem with that. We already paid enough taxes. The taxes that they charge us and all the money that they collect from Washingtonians, it just disappeared. Homelessness is growing rapid. Illegal immigrants is growing rapid. Gas prices don't go down because they have a high tax price on gas. Two, I have to pay an extra $400 on my car tabs. The problem is, these guys are just pocketing this money, putting into organizations that are not really legit organizations. And even if they were legit, it's just a waste of money. It doesn't improve the quality of living for Washingtonians. And they just say, well, if companies are making over $1 million or $250 million, then we need to tax them more. But what happens? Let's talk about real estate for a little bit. On the first month that I was learning the trade, our rent prices for the property that I work for, mind you, this is not a luxury, big, nice property. There was thefts, overdosing, homeless, sleeping in the hallways. There was vandalizing at night. Every night, it seems like, every night, somebody's window was broken and a car got broken into and things were taken out and blah, blah, blah. This same property, $750 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And I thought, well, that's a good price. I mean, that is the price. And this was back in 2015, at the end of 2015. Early 2016, January, February, another company had bought the managing company that we were working for. Their rent went up. Now, mind you, there was no upgrades. There was no more security. There was nothing added of value or safety for the community. They were allowed to raise the rent from $750 to $1,200. That's $450. So anywhere between $300 and $450, the rent went up within a matter of a couple of months. Why did that bother me? Because it was a business? No, it is a business that it's supposed to be for the community. It's supposed to provide housing for those that need it, right? And I'm not saying that this is like Section 8 or, a government run, apartment community. That's not what I'm talking about. But every business that asks for permission to build infrastructures like apartment buildings and housing and all this other stuff, they have a permit. And they always pitch, oh, this is going to provide more housing for the growing population of Seattle and Everett and Edmond. They always bring that excuse in there. But in reality, they're just making money. Now, I know everybody goes into a business to make money. But the problem is, you bring up the excuse that you bring in a lot of housing for the community, but you don't say we're going to rip the community off by really putting some high prices up there that are not really necessary. The system is so corrupted and it's so hard to explain. Now, I cannot go through every single document of legislature or any type of laws and orders that, that we have here in Washington State. It is impossible for me to go through. But I can tell you, I don't have to make laws. I don't have to look at any legislations. I don't have to look at any rules to tell you that what they're doing to the people, it's not fair. Now, what happened to this property? A lot of people couldn't afford the rent anymore, so they had to move to an even worse area in the city, thus making the problem on bad areas already worse. Now, I've seen in the last few years here in Washington State, the overgrowth of homelessness on the street, people on drugs. Like, there is no police to say, hey, there's a group of 12 people over there just passing out drugs. They look like zombies, bent over and just, frozen in time because of the drug problem. Police can't do anything about it. And why? Because Democrats think that they shouldn't get involved with that. They shouldn't get involved with illegal immigration. They shouldn't get involved with a lot of stuff. Like, many times we have called the police officers to come over to our property because somebody was overdosed and just dead on the apartments. And how many times did we have to call to kick somebody off the property? Homeless people just doing drugs in the hallways in these apartment communities. Horrible. And I tell you all of this because property taxes makes a big difference. The excuse for apartment communities to charge more money was, well, at least you're not stuck with a 30-year rate. So even though you're paying more for rent than you would in mortgage, you actually have more options to be, if you have to move and you have to go here and there. I understand that convenience. That doesn't make it right for them to keep increasing the prices, because the communities around, they're really more for the local people, not just for the traveling agents that go back and forth between states because of their work. Here's the problem. There's already a tax increase that happened a couple of years ago on big businesses. Some of them have moved out. Now, somebody asked, why do you think that we need to increase taxes on businesses again? And don't you think that that's going to make big companies just move out of the state? The answer from one of these Democrats that came up was, well, back in 2013, we gave a big tax break to Boeing, and they still ended up moving thousands of employees somewhere else. Let me tell you why. It's not enough. It's not enough. It is crazy, and I'm going to go back to how these people look, how unprofessional they are, and how ignorant they really are. They don't belong in that position. They picked them because they were gay, because their sexual preference, because of their color, because of their gender. When you talk to these guys, when you see them talking, these guys have no clue what it's like to be a human being. And I know that sounds very horrible, but oh my gosh, I was getting so upset watching these people. And this is the people that got voted in. 58%, almost 58% of the state is Democrat. So how can we fight this? We really can't. The majority speak. Democracy. This is a country of, is a constitutional republic that believes in democracy, as in the right to vote for people to come in and we can make decisions this way. I watched this video, and of course, most of them, they were participating from home. Some of them in pajamas, a couple of them, yeah, they actually look kind of professional. And these people just make no effort to look professional at all. Some of them were in other remote offices, and even some actually say that they made it to the Olympia because this is a very important subject, to which apparently half of them don't think is an important subject. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but it just bugs me. And when I do my videos, guys, it's not scripted. So I'm sure at some point I'm going to write stuff down, write some notes down that I can follow. These people, every time that they bring what they believe, what this bill is going to do and why it should pass, this is the way they read. So the bill is going to say this. And what we're talking about here, and they just do a little quick look up there, to pretend that they are actually speaking from the heart. And there is a fast read. It's just blah, 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 blah. Nothing. There was no effort to memorize anything of what they have written. Now, a lot of speakers and a lot of people, unless you're trying to quote specific lines, then you're going to read specifically from a line in the paper. I understand that. But when you're saying, well, I believe that, do you really believe? Or you just wrote something, or maybe somebody wrote it for you and you think that's, you know, that person is good at writing and so you're going to read it? This is exactly how it went. There was this one of the representatives there, right? She was reading, and just once in a while she would look up like she's pretending that she's actually looking at people. But when she was to talk without paper, this is her reaction. I kid you not. And the speaker and everybody else on the Democrats, they just laugh. No big deal. What's the other thing that bothered me? One of the people asked, it's like, can you in one sentence explain why this bill should pass to the average citizen? And the person couldn't say anything at all. And so another Democrat tried to help them out and be like, well, this bill increment, it happens because it can only happen when there is an increase in population or if there is infrastructure. And well, it's not a sentence, but there it is. It's in there somewhere. And I'm like, what? What do you mean in there somewhere? You're supposed to convince the average people, the average citizen, to understand. You got to dumb it down if you want to. I mean, I say it that way because this is the question that came afterwards. One of them says, it's really hard to explain it to the average citizen because they just will never understand. It's too much for them to understand. The speaker says, point taken. Point given, point taken. Ha ha ha. Everybody laughed. Oh, that pissed me off so bad. And I'm like, so you really think the American people, the Washingtonians, are that stupid that you can't explain why this bill and these property taxes are supposed to be increased on the Washingtonian? They don't care if businesses leave and go somewhere else. They are making so much money off taxes, of the taxpayers' money, that they don't know what to do with it. These people see $1 billion. I swear, this is the kind of people that if they win the lotto, they don't know what to do with it. They go crazy and then eventually they lose everything. That is the exact people that are running our government here in Washington State. You know, when you look at Trump and he talks about billions and billions of dollars, that's nothing to him. He's used to seeing those ciphers up there, those numbers, those big the decimal just keeps moving and moving and moving. He knows money is powerful, yes. But to people that are ignorant and that are not ready to handle that much money, we hear in the news, somebody was caught stealing $150 million. Let's not forget, Washington State, please, 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 forget about your loyalty to Democrats. Get your head out of the sand. Stop being a loyalist. Be a patriot. These people in office that you put in there was to fit your DEI, but guess what? They are not fit for the job. They don't have the brains nor the heart to work hard for the people. If I have to handle millions and millions of dollars and my paycheck says I'm going to make $150,000 a year, that's what I take home. Millions and millions of dollars can go through my hands, can go through my budget, and it's going to go where it needs to go. Not to wasteful contracts. We have the problem with these Democrats in our government. Oh my God, it's so sad, but it is what it is. Hopefully Washingtonians wake up and they start seeing what their error or their ways are. And it's nothing to be about egotistical or, you're trying to protect your image or, well, my grandfather was a Democrat and I have to be a... No, you don't have to be a Democrat. Number one, you're not supposed to be a party. You're supposed to be a citizen, a defender of this beautiful nation. That's what you're supposed to be. And if the Democratic Party is the best, then that's what we need to go for. But right now it's not. They're the worst. They're the worst. Please, in these mid-elections, in these midterm elections, let's make a change. Let's make a change to this and see where we go from it. Let's see prosperity and let's see American citizens being taken care of more. Sorry, I'm just, this is bugging me. Okay, so if a company moves out, you get thousands of people that lose their jobs. Number one. Right now, I believe the last time I checked there was almost 5. I don't want to exaggerate. I'm going to say 5, but I think it's 8. I'm going to say over 5,000 employment opportunities available right now here in Washington State. Nobody wants it apparently. Or the companies can't find the right color or gender or any type of belief that aligns with their views, so there's no hiring. I'm not sure what's happening, right? But the point is, when you don't give cuts to the businesses that are making good money in this state, they might just go somewhere else. We saw that in New York. They left, right? Even though we still have Amazon over here in Washington, that's what they do. These big companies, they're going to have to go somewhere else. And of course, we don't want them to go international either, but come on. Our state governments need to help those businesses so that we, the people here, can get the benefit of lower prices. Property taxes. One of the people in there said that, this is going to go towards schooling and it's going to help my children. And they're just thinking about themselves, but they don't think about everybody else. Do you know how many senior citizens have retired years ago at a certain amount of money every month? Do you think they care about their kids going to school? Their kids are already gone from school. They already paid their taxes. They already supported everything that they needed to support. But now they can't afford it. Now they're losing their houses. And you know what these people say? Well, we need better kind of citizens living in our city. Are you kidding me? How can they, in good conscience, ever say that? Our government is not there to treat us like peasants, like they say. They're not kings, but they keep saying Trump is a king. No, the government is not kings. The government is servants of the people of this beautiful constitutional republic. You are servants for the people, and you are failing the people. Take those earrings off your nose. Dress in a suit. Dress professional when you come in there. These guys look like they just got out of bed. These people have no professionalism, nor do they look right in here. Something's missing. And I don't understand how they qualified to be elected. They just pick, hey, I want to be a Democrat. Can I run for governor? Can I run for senator? I want to be in the Democratic Party. You know why? Because most of the people here are Democrats. Well, I'm going to finish with this. Washington State, Washingtonians, I know you love your Democratic Party. It isn't what it used to be. These people have become retarded. They have lost track of what it is to work for the American people. They look at serving our country as a professional career. All they care about is making money for themselves. They don't care about your life or your children's life. They just mention the things that sound important to you, like schooling, so that they can rob you from your money. Let's wake up. Let's see where this video goes. Let's see if this actually helps Washingtonians become more aware of what needs to be done. Guys, if you have any questions, any input, or things you want to add, you can always leave them down in the comments below. This is my new channel, and from here, Everett, Washington, my name is Dennis Herrera, and trying to bring some truth and light to the people. Till next time, God bless the USA, and God bless you. Peace.